My name is Logan Savage. I'm 13 years old and I've been going to Gilead for a year. Before camp, I knew I really needed Jesus, and I knew if I went to camp, they could help me out and do that. So, I just really needed him a lot, and that's why I went to camp. During worship one night at youth camp, Pastor Josh was talking about how Jesus got crucified, and I was just thinking how terrible that was, and how much I really needed Jesus, how bad I really was, and how much I sinned, and it just kind of realized me and clicked that I wasn't as good as a person as I thought I was. And then Josh told us that we need to stand up if you think you need Jesus, and I stood up, and that's probably the best decision I've made in my life. After that sermon, Brent pulled me out. We were having a youth group meeting, and he pulled me out, and I prayed to God, and I confessed my sins, and Brent really helped me out doing that. After camp, I had a big weight lifted off my shoulders. I felt like I knew I was safe and I was going to heaven. Before camp, I just felt like I would lift weighed down, because I knew if I were to die that day, I would have gone to hell. So it's a big relief just to have that weight off my shoulders. I come this morning believing Jesus is my Lord and Savior.
My name is Mike Savage. I'm 36 years old. Got to come to Gilead. I'm married Kristen Savage, which is related to Seagulls and James Moore. One of the best decisions I've ever made. I was baptized when I was around 10 at Mount Zion Baptist Church. Grew up in a church family. Went to church Sundays and Wednesdays. Started working EMS when I got out of high school, and we worked 24-hour shifts, which every other Sunday I was working. Kind of excuse, but kind of got out of the habit, started going. So, long story short is that when I met Kristen, we started going to Gilead. Started getting back into the rhythm of going to church, enjoying myself, getting to meet new people. Really enjoyed it. Then coming up to that, previously November 22nd, my father died. It was tough. From that point forward, I started thinking about where I was at in my life at that moment. I wasn't where I needed to be. I wasn't doing the things I should have done. Being a father of 4, I knew I needed to be a different role model. Also, I coached football. I had a lot of tremendous liability with different kids, and be able to touch a lot of different kids. So I just knew, thinking I wasn't where I needed to be, and I just needed to make some changes. Leading up to the winter retreat with the youth, my daughter Peyton and my son Logan were going to go ahead. They were going on a trip, and Kristen was kind of after me about I needed to go with them. And I'm always a busybody. I always think I got something I need to do or whatever. But we prayed about it, and I finally admitted to myself I need to go on this thing. So I got with Brent. He said, "Sure, come along." And lo to be told, I needed it more than it was a good trip for me, more than some of the kids. It was so I got there. We got to the place in Ohio, and it was neat. It was I hadn't been on a retreat, so I was back in the youth group. We got to, listening, and the preacher, and the thing that really caught my eye. I'm a person to put something together, to have a thing to talk about, and he really concentrated on an acorn. And I know Brent talked about this the other night when we talked about some of the kids got him talk, but he referred to sin as an acorn. And he talked about that one acorn turns into trees, and that turns into other trees. It produces acorns. It turns into more trees. So all them sins just keep building and building and building. And it was a huge relate to me. I understood what he was coming from, and that's when I knew that I needed to make a lot of changes. And so that night, one night, it was I went and got Brent was meeting. I went and pulled him out. It was like midnight. Poor guy was freezing to death outside, and we sat there and talked for a while. And the key moment when Brent asked me if I was saved, and in my mind back when I was 10, I did get saved, and I said yeah. We kept talking and talking, and the whole time we were talking, I was sitting there thinking, am I saved? Am I saved? And I looked at him and I said, Brent, if I'm guessing myself being saved, I ain't saved. And that's when we kind of stopped, and he redirected, and he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to be saved, man. And he kind of led me through the steps, and I sat there and asked God in my heart and forgave him all my sins, and that's when it came tonight. That was the biggest relief I've had. It was huge. Got back, we went and found Jody and gave him, and it was exciting. I got to call my wife Kristen on the phone and talk to her and share those moments, and it was awesome. Brent got us in the youth room and called the youth group, and they kind of surrounded me, and we put their hands on me, and we started praying, and that was a very touching moment. Then when Ethan, while we were praying, he made the prayer that he wanted to thank the Lord for, where I was at that time, being saved, and he made the comment that it's hard for a young man to make that decision, but a pride for an older gentleman to step in and say that it is, and it was really relieving to hear him say that much. It was an awesome experience. Also during the whole thing, there was a song that it was a touching moment also that the group was singing, and it's called "How Can It Be" by Lauren Dingle. That song has probably meant to me more than the past couple months than I can even say. I hear it come on day, it brings me back to where I was at and what I did, and it's huge. It's talking about how my hands are dirty, talking about how can I be saved for what I've done. And hopefully, I think we're hearing it while I'm doing this. And but if you listen to the words of that song, it's very touching to me, and hopefully maybe if you listen to it, it touches you too. But the whole experience, I can't explain how much it meant to me. And to this day, I'm a different person. I feel so much more relaxed about things. I don't get tore up about some things I used to. I started doing devotions every morning, which makes my day so much better when I start off. But I can't explain enough the decision I made, how much it's changed me. I come this morning believing that Jesus is my Lord and Savior.